Hello there. Just a quick warning, I am going to be giving away some spoilers towards the end of this video. Something very pivotal happens even before the movie ends, and it's impossible to do the review without it. However, I will mention just before I get to that part so that you can click out if you don't want any spoilers. In the Heights opens with Usnavi, who has a group of kids gathered around him as he sits by his bar, and he tells them a story of a block that was disappearing in New York, called Washington Heights. In Washington Heights, Usnavi, an immigrant from the Dominican Republic, lives with his abuela Claudia, who never had children of her own, but she kind of became the parent or the abuela to everybody in the neighborhood. Usnavi runs a bodega, and we're introduced to all the inhabitants of the neighborhood as they come in for the best coffee, to buy lottery tickets, hygiene products, and basically anything, because you can find basically anything in a bodega. It was at this point that I found out that Jimmy Smits is in this, and I absolutely lost it because I adore him. All of these characters come in, including Daniela, who runs the local salon, and her girls, who all have backstories and are connected to one another in some way, and they have this little family/community. We also see Vanessa, Usnavi's love interest, who works at the salon. She has dreams of moving out of the neighborhood and becoming a fashion designer. At this point, she's a pretty talented girl that Usnavi has a crush on, kind of from afar, but I think she knows. So one of the central issues in this movie is gentrification and how the neighborhood's residents are dealing with the increase in prices of newer businesses and not being able to hold on to their own businesses, so they're often priced out of the neighborhood, hence the disappearing block. One of Usnavi's dreams is to save up enough money to buy his father's old bar in the Dominican Republic, so his plan throughout the movie is to go back. We also have Benny, who works in the local traffic dispatch, the business of Nina's father. He owns a car service. Nina is his high school sweetheart, but she's since moved away to uni. She goes to Stanford. At one point in the movie, she's home from uni for a visit, and it's clear that things between them aren't quite over. Can I just say that Benny's voice in this movie was one of the first standouts for me? You'd expect Usnavi to be good, because if you're a Hamilton fan, you'll know that Anthony Ramos has a really good voice, but Benny was just such a surprise and a new discovery, and I couldn't wait for his solos. Nina admits to Abuela Claudia that she feels lonely at Stanford. She's struggling under the expectation of success, being the first in her family to go to uni, and she doesn't want to let anybody down. Abuela tries to comfort her and tells her a little bit about her own hardships with her and her mother coming to America from Cuba. Nina does eventually tell her father as well, Jimmy Smits, about her struggles at uni, and it turns out he sold half of his business for her to be able to go in the first place, and she fudges the dates to him on purpose so that he believes that he's missed the next payment deadlines and it's too late. He does call later on and finds out about the deadline, that it hasn't passed, but he doesn't understand or approve of his daughter wanting to drop out. One day, the bodega gets a call from the lottery office to say that the bodega sold a winning lottery ticket and someone had won $96,000. The ticket was never turned in though, so we never find out who wins. That's what Usnavi tells the children, but more on that in a minute. So as at dinner, Benny confronts Nina's father about a meeting he walked in on earlier, and Nina's father eventually admits to the group that he sold the business. The business and his dream that he built from nothing, and now Nina can complete her studies at Stanford. Then we find out just how bad things are for Nina as she recalls an incident where she was suspected of stealing and she was searched. She says that her situation is a lot different from everybody else's coming to America and being in a foreign place, because at least most of them had each other. She's alone and she feels as though she can't have her father's life's work on her shoulders, and she's not going back. After the gang all goes to a club one night, there's a neighborhood blackout, and afterwards we get a really good solo from Abuela Claudia, and there's a split second in the beginning that kind of reminds me of Burn from Hamilton. I think if you know, you'll know. Okay, so this is when the spoilers begin. If you don't want to know what happens in this movie, you should probably click out now. A little later, Usnavi finds Abuela Claudia unresponsive and they call the ambulance, but it turns out that a combination of the heat, the stress of it, her not taking her meds, her heart just gave out. Usnavi eulogizes her, and again it kind of reminded me of the Rise Up spoken word piece from Hamilton. Everyone gathers out on the streets to pay their respect. After Abuela's death, for a long time, nothing is quite the same in Washington Heights. Usnavi does, however, eventually admit to Vanessa that he really cares about her, even though he's leaving quite soon. He's going to the Dominican Republic. We also have Sunny, who is Usnavi's little cousin, and he helps quite a lot in the bodega, and Usnavi looks out for him. Him and Nina go to a march to protect Dhaka citizens to protest for their rights, and that's when Sunny hears for the first time that he might not be able to go to university. That's another dream of his that he might not get the chance to realize. Usnavi is narrating in the background at this point, reminding us that life isn't always as easy as just working hard and having the success follow. This inspires Nina to find her path in life. She wants to use her education to help immigrants find a path to citizenship, and her father reconcile. He's proud of her. Next, we see Daniela and the salon ladies. They're leaving the neighborhood. They've also been struggling. They're moving to the Bronx. As they're leaving, they notice that the neighborhood is dead. The neighborhood still has a power outage, and Daniela starts singing, trying to get people to feel some joy, saying that Abuela Claudia wouldn't want it to be this way. There might be no power, but they're not powerless. Everyone eventually joins in, and we get another big musical number celebrating life, culture, and their community in the Heights. Eventually, we see Usnavi is finishing up with packing up his things because his flight to the Dominican Republic is the next day, and guess what he sees? Abuela left the winning lottery ticket for him, and Vanessa also comes to see him, by the way, and asks him out on a date. Eventually, she tells him not to go, giving all these excuses like everybody's going to miss his coffee, but eventually she kisses him. We know why she doesn't want him to leave. Usnavi decides to use the lottery ticket to pay the lawyer to get Sunny a path to citizenship. Sunny, of course, knows that the odds are against him, but he wants to fight for this. Towards the end of the movie, just as Usnavi is about to leave, Vanessa ends up surprising him, and she shows him her new designs, and there's a mural on the wall of the bodega, and it's his father's beach. He decides on the spot that he's staying. He's found his island, and this is his home, and he recreates the idea of his father's bar in the bodega, which him and Vanessa run together, and she sells her designs there. We see that Usnavi and the kids have been sitting in the bodega all along, and one of the kids is his and Vanessa's, and in the end we get another song that's a celebration of being home in Washington Heights. And that's the movie. So if you're a fan of Lin-Manuel Miranda, you'll kind of notice him in this movie, like his songwriting style. I don't know if that's just because I knew it was him going in. You'll also experience the emotions with the characters. You'll laugh and you'll cry, and it's altogether an emotional and joyful watching experience. However, with this one, I knew like halfway through that I'm never going to watch this again. Sure, I'll listen to the soundtrack on Spotify. I won't watch it though. Also, I'd completely forgotten about it the next day, and to me, if that happens, it just means that a movie was ultimately not that memorable. But it's fun for a one-time watch. If you have seen it, feel free to share your thoughts down in the comments, and if you like this video, also feel free to like and subscribe, and thank you for watching.